Imagine embarking on a journey not just across the globe but into the heart of spiritual transformation. Swami Vivekananda's second visit to the West was not merely a voyage, but a profound quest to rejuvenate his mission and inspire his followers. Join us as we explore the thrilling narrative of his travels, the deep conversations that shaped his vision, and the powerful insights that emerged. In this episode, we follow Swami Vivekananda's momentous second trip to the West, beginning in December 1898. This journey was not only a physical voyage, but a spiritual and intellectual adventure, accompanied by Sister Nivedita and Swami Turiyananda. Vivekananda aimed to inspect and ignite the work he had begun while grappling with his own health challenges. Through a series of thought-provoking conversations and reflections, we gain a deeper understanding of his evolving philosophy and the impact of his teachings on both himself and his companions. Chapter 11: Second Visit to the West. On December 16, 1898, Swami Vivekananda announced his plan to go to the West to inspect the work he had founded and to fan the flame. The devotees and friends welcomed the idea since they thought the sea voyage would restore his failing health. He planned to take with him Sister Nivedita and Swami Turiyananda. Versed in the scriptures, Turiyananda had spent most of his life in meditation and was averse to public work. Failing to persuade him by words to accompany him to America, Vivekananda put his arms round his brother disciple's neck and wept like a child, saying, "Dear brother, don't you see how I am laying down my life inch by inch in fulfilling the mission of my master? Now I have come to the verge of death. Can you look on without trying to relieve part of my great burden?" Swami Turiyananda was deeply moved and offered to follow the Swami wherever he wanted to go. When he asked if he should take with him some Vedanta scriptures, Vivekananda said, "Oh, they have had enough of learning and books. The last time they saw a warrior, now I want to show them a Brahmin." June 20th, 1899 was fixed as their date of sailing from Kolkata. On the night of the 19th, a meeting was held at the Belur Mutt at which the junior members of the monastery presented addresses to the two Swamis. The next day, the Holy Mother entertained them and other monks with a sumptuous feast. The steamship Golconda, carrying the Swami and his two companions, touched Madras. But the passengers were not allowed to land on account of the plague in Kolkata. This was a great disappointment to Swami Vivekananda's South Indian friends. The ship continued to Colombo, Aden, Naples, and Marseille, finally arriving in London on July 31st. The voyage in the company of the Swami was an education for Turiyananda and Nivedita. From beginning to end, a vivid flow of thought and stories went on. One never knew what moment would bring the flash of intuition and the ringing utterance of some fresh truth. That encyclopedic mind touched all subjects: Christ, Buddha, Krishna, Ramakrishna, folklore, the history of India and Europe, the degradation of Hindu society and the assurance of its coming greatness, different philosophical and religious systems, and many themes more. All was later admirably recorded by Sister Nivedita in The Master as I Saw Him, from which the following fragments may be cited. "Yes," the Swami said one day, "the older I grow, the more everything seems to me to lie in manliness. This is my new gospel. Do even evil like a man. Be wicked if you must on a grand scale." Some time before, Nivedita had complimented India on the infrequency of crime. On that occasion, the Swami said in sorrowful protest, "Would to God it were otherwise in my land, for this is verily the virtuousness of death." Evidently, according to him, the vilest crime was not to act, to do nothing at all. Regarding conservative and liberal ideas, he said, "The conservative's whole ideal is submission. Your ideal is struggle. Consequently, it is we who enjoy life, and never you. You are always striving to change yours to something better. And before a millionth part of the change is carried out, you die. The Western ideal is to be doing, the Eastern to be suffering, The perfect life would be a wonderful harmony between doing and suffering. But that can never be. To him, selfishness was the greatest barrier to spiritual progress. It is selfishness that we must seek to eliminate. I find that whenever I have made a mistake in my life, it has always been because self entered into the calculation. Where self has not been involved, my judgment has gone straight to the mark. "You are quite wrong," he said again. "When you think that fighting is the sign of growth, it is not so at all. Absorption is the sign. Hinduism is the very genius of absorption. We have never cared for fighting. Of course, we struck a blow now and then in defense of our homes. That was right, but we never cared for fighting for its own sake. Everyone had to learn that. So let these races of newcomers whirl on. They all will be taken into Hinduism in the end." In another mood, the theme of his conversation would be Kali and the worship of the terrible. Then he would say, "I love terror for its own sake, despair for its own sake, misery for its own sake. Fight always, fight and fight on, though always in defeat. That's the ideal. That's the ideal. Again, worship the terrible, worship death. All else is vain. All struggle is vain. This is the last lesson. Yet this is not the coward's love of death, not the love of the weak or the suicide. It is the welcome of the strong man who has sounded everything to the depths and knows that there is no alternative. And who is Kali, whose will is irresistible. The totality of all souls, not the human alone, is the personal God. But the will of the totality nothing can resist. It is what we know as law. And this is what we mean by Shiva and Kali and so on. Concerning true greatness, as I grow older, I find that I look more and more for greatness in little things. I want to know what a great man eats and wears and how he speaks to his servants. I want to find a Sir Philip Sidney greatness. Few men would remember to think of others in the moment of death, but anyone will be great in a great position. Even the coward will grow brave in the glow of the footlights. The world looks on, whose heart will not throb, whose pulse will not quicken, till he can do his best. More and more the true greatness seems to me that of the worm, doing its duty silently, steadily, from moment to moment and hour to hour. Regarding the points of difference between his own schemes for the regeneration of India and those preached by others, I disagree with those who are for giving their superstitions back to my people. Like the Egyptologist's interest in Egypt, it is easy to feel an interest in India that is purely selfish. One may desire to see again the India of one's books, one's studies, one's dreams. My hope is to see the strong points of that India, reinforced by the strong points of this age, only in a natural way. The new state of things must be a growth from within, so I preach only the Upanishads. If you look, you will find that I have never quoted anything but the Upanishads. And of the Upanishads, it is only that one idea, strength. The quintessence of the Vedas and Vedanta and all lies in that one word. Buddha's teaching was of non-resistance or non-injury. But I think ours is a better way of teaching the same thing. For behind that non-injury lay a dreadful weakness, the weakness that conceives the idea of resistance. But I do not think of punishing or escaping from a drop of sea spray. It is nothing to me, yet to the mosquito it would be serious. Now, I will make all injury like that. Strength and fearlessness. My own ideal is that giant of a saint whom they killed in the Sepoy mutiny and who broke his silence when stabbed to the heart to say, "And thou also art he." About India and Europe, the Swami said, "I see that India is a young and living organism. Europe is also young and living. Neither has arrived at such a stage of development that we can safely criticize its institutions. They are two great experiments, neither of which is yet complete. They ought to be mutually helpful," he went on, "but at the same time each should respect the free development of the other. They ought to grow hand in hand." Thus time passed till the boat arrived at Tilbury Dock, where the party was met by the Swami's disciples and friends, among whom were two American ladies who had come all the way to London to meet their teacher. It was the off-season for London, and so the two Swamis sailed for New York on August 16th. The trip was beneficial to the Swami's health. The sea was smooth, and at night the moonlight was enchanting. One evening, as the Swami paced up and down the deck enjoying the beauty of nature, he suddenly exclaimed, "And if all this Maya is so beautiful, think of the wondrous beauty of the reality behind it." Another evening, when the moon was full, he pointed to the sea and sky and said, "Why recite poetry when there is the very essence of poetry?" In our next episode, we delve into Swami Vivekananda's engaging journey through New York and Los Angeles. From his delightful moments at Ridgely Manor to his impactful lectures and humorous interactions, this chapter offers a rich tapestry of his experiences in America. Join us as we explore how Vivekananda's presence and teachings continued to inspire and influence those around him, reflecting his unique blend of spirituality, humor, and wisdom. Thank you for listening till the end. Please subscribe, turn on the notifications, like, comment, and share with your friends. This will help more listeners to discover our channel and content.